The Doctor's Journal, brought to you by Medical Associates Hospital, Jameson and O Snacks.
One of the scariest and hardest moments you will ever experience is to see someone's life fading right before your eyes and being powerless to help.
For those who have encountered a life-threatening emergency involving a loved one, you already know how scary this can be.
You will do just about anything, trust me, anything, to save that person's life. Today, we are discussing life-saving techniques, known more commonly as first aid. Today, we have a special guest, Mr. Ababa Batiste, and he is from Tech EMS, and he has served for over 30 years on the New York State of Paramedics. Let's have a look.
Hey, greetings, Dr. Taylor. How are you doing? Dr. Sunarayan?
Hi,
All right.
how are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Can you tell us how many lives you think you've saved with BLS and first aid?
Oh, I would say hundreds in New York, and by extension, through training doctors in advanced cardiac life support. Thousands of doctors we have trained, and they, by extension, saving lives is a product of our humble support in training.
Right, so today we were lucky enough for him to teach us firstly the approach to the unconscious patient. So today I'm going to be the unconscious patient for him to demonstrate on. Right, so...
Yes. So firstly, if one recognizes that there is a situation where someone seems to be unresponsive or unconscious, one needs to ensure that the scene is safe first. Once they determine the scene is safe, then they would approach the victim and make this action by tapping and shouting, "Ma'am, are you okay? Are you all right?" And listen for a response. If a response is given, then that's a good thing. Then we have to place them in the recovery position. However, if they seem to not respond, but they have the capacity to breathe, we would still put them in the recovery position. The recovery position is a simple action of turning them on their side. And what it does, it allows for, if they should have an episode of vomiting, the food content does not go into their lungs, which is called aspiration. And aspiration is a bad thing. It causes pneumonia and all that bad stuff. So recovery position is simple but very effective.
So tell us about the approach to the seasoned patient.
All right. Well, there's a lot of myth about seizures, but one thing I would say right away is place nothing in the mouth. So again, with a seasoned patient, one would observe their surroundings, their environment, ensure that there are no obstacles that can cause injury from the victim having the seizure event, and at the same time, one would loosen any tight clothing, if it's whatever type clothing, loosen it so that it will be comfortable, and then one would monitor that victim and turn them to the side when they have completed the seizing action. Don't interfere with them while they're going through the episode of the seizure. While on their side, we'll put them in the recovery position, as we mentioned before, for the same reasons. All the thing about spoon and belt and in the mouth, those are no. Just simple monitor and observe.
So guys, make sure you call for help. You may or may not need to go to the hospital. Stay tuned for more. We'll be right back after the break.
Welcome back to the Doctor's Journal. Today we're talking about first aid, and we've got the lovely Mr. and Mrs. Batiste, and they're going to show us CPR. So,
Thank you
for being here.
You're
So we're
so
going to talk
welcome.
firstly for our viewers, why is CPR important?
Well, CPR is very important. Why? When one has a situation where there is no heartbeat, the heart is not working, that is a form of what we call clinical death. And they can be brought back if the right things are done immediately. And one of the things that's important to be done besides defibrillation is CPR. CPR stands for cardio, the heart, pulmonary, the lungs, resuscitation. It means to revive the heart and the lungs. And by doing so, we would simulate by pressing on the chest, which is called compression. We are like massaging the heart, causing the heart to push out blood and then fill back, and push out blood and fill back. And we give breaths so that that oxygen could get to the cells, because without oxygen, there is no life.
So Mr. Batiste, what are some of the conditions that we need to be aware of before one starts CPR in terms of environment
Good
or
question.
positioning?
Very good. You see, safety is of the utmost important. If one seems to be in a need of help and you enter without ensuring that you are safe, then you can become a victim as well. So you have to ensure the scene is safe. And once it's safe, then you approach and you go through the process of which we'll demonstrate at this point. So we would say, man down, don't know what's wrong. So Nyla is checking for responsiveness. So there is no response, Nyla. Certainly, so I'm going to activate the emergency response system by calling 811. Now Nyla is checking for signs of life to see if she needs to do compression. So there are no signs of life. So now Nyla will go on the lower half of the sternum, which is the breastbone, and she would start pressing, doing these compressions, 30 compressions at a speed that is not too fast or not too slow. So ideally, what we're looking at is 100 to 120 compressions in a minute.
How deep does one have to compress?
Good question. Now, the correct measurement is 2 inches to 2.4, but we don't have a measuring tape. So we would go deep enough to be effective, not too shallow, not too deep. Sometimes a rib may break, and that's okay. It's called life over limb. It's better to have a broken rib and you have your life than you try to preserve the ribs and you don't get life.
And in terms of the hand placement, what is the best placement, you know?
So how do they hold their hand
Okay,
on that
that's a good
sternum?
question. As Nyla is showing you now, you're going to interlock the fingers and you go 2 fingers above the, what you call the xiphoid process or the solar plexus, the arch where the ribs meet. And you would go now on the middle of the sternum, lower half of the sternum, but the midline, center,
Right.
lock the elbows, and then you go down and up.
Press.
Yeah.
So now I'm too short for this table. She's on a stool, right? So that's important to note as well for our people looking at home.
Correct.
Right? If you cannot reach and you cannot get that arm to lock so you're able to push properly, pull the patient down onto a flat surface. You're pulling them down to on the floor, whichever is comfortable for you.
What's the next step after the compression?
Very good question. So it's cardio, which is compressions, pulmonary, which is the lungs. So after 30 compressions, we should give 2 breaths. If we are doing mouth to mouth, we have to pinch the nose before we give that first breath. And then we have to release the nose and then pinch the nose again and give the second breath and then continue with the compressions. However, if we have a barrier device, then we utilize that without pinching the nose, which is a perfect device. It allows for nothing from the patient to come back to you as in bodily fluids. We need to keep in mind that if we don't feel safe, we don't place our mouth on anyone, because it's a hazard if you are feeling unsafe.
And it's okay to just do compression.
Yes, that's what we call heart saver, continual compressions, because there's some residual oxygen in the blood that can still work.
So there you have it, guys. That is CPR in a nutshell. But we have a lot more coming for you right after this break.
Welcome back to the Doctor's Journal. Today we're talking about first aid, but I think I'm missing Dr. Mike.
Hey, I'm over here.
Mike, what are you doing?
I have a person down.
Okay, don't worry, we'll come and help you. Come.
How long you been in CPR?
About 5 minutes.
5 minutes. And I apply the AED. So firstly, I'll turn it on and I'll follow the instructions.
Apply pads to patient's bare chest.
These pads
Plug in pad connector next to flashing light. Apply pads, plug in connector.
okay.
Analyzing heart rhythm.
Please stop CPR while the machine analyzes
Do
the heart
not
rhythm.
touch the patient.
The machine is analyzing to see if it has a shockable rhythm or not, to indicate if to shock or not.
Shock advised.
So shock is advised. Continue CPR while it's charging up, and while it's charging up, CPR will be continued. Now that it's ready to deliver the shock, I will tell Dr. Taylor, please stop CPR. I am clear, you clear, everybody's clear? We're gonna shock on 3. 2, 3, shock is delivered. Please resume compressions. Okay, so that was an example of application of the AED when someone is in cardiac arrest and CPR is in progress. The AED is applied immediately on its arrival. It takes priority. It takes precedence. So one has to understand the first thing you need to do is turn it on. And as you turn it on, it will automatically give you instructions, and you simply relax and follow the instructions. Don't panic. No one can get hurt. Just follow the instructions.
On the machines themselves, they tell you exactly where to stick the pads, right? And the machine, if you listen for it, it will tell you when to step away and clear the patient. And you have to press the knob to deliver that shock.
That's correct. So it will give you all that instruction by saying apply the pads. As it says apply the pads, there's an indicator pictorial that tells you where the pads is applied. And then it would say analyzing heart rhythm. That means we don't want any interference with the compression, so we have to cease the compression, stop the CPR
Temporarily.
correctly, and wait for the machine to actually tell you if to shock or not. And if it says shock advised, charging, while it says charging, compressions could continue until it's fully charged, and then you would stop the compressions. And no touching, no contact, and we deliver that shock after we ensure that the scene is clear, everyone is safe.
So what are some of the myths surrounding the shock, sometimes defibrillation as it's termed?
Okay, well, defibrillation is a system of electricity hitting the heart from defibrillating. See, the heart can fibrillate, meaning it's trembling or it's beating too fast. It's not functioning properly. So if it's too fast, it cannot fill up with blood and pump out blood, which carries the oxygen, which is what we live for. So too fast, you will see a rhythm, which doctors know called ventricular tachycardia, or if it's trembling, then it's ventricular fibrillation, and these are shockable rhythm. So asystole, the flat line, is never shocked, or something called pulseless electrical activity is never shocked, unlike on TV. But once the machine say shock advised, we prepare to shock because it's a shockable rhythm, and the machine does not make a mistake. So we safely administer the shock. And on completion of the shock, first look for signs of life. It would say, if there is no signs of life, continue CPR. But if there are signs of life, which is movement, a pulse, turn them on the side in the recovery position.
So where would you get one of these machines, and do you always need them?
Well, these machines can be ordered online, so one can research and purchase one. It's a simple, safe action. There is no danger in utilizing AED. It would not shock someone who doesn't have a shockable rhythm. But if you shock a patient who has a shockable rhythm and you're touching the patient, you can get shocked.
That's why you have to listen and hear when it tells you to stop touching the patient or back away.
Correct. And then in some places you might find AEDs dependent on if they have it, like some government agencies. In the US, they have them in the movies, in the airports. So it's something that if you come across an AED, don't panic. It's very simple to operate by turning it on first and following the instructions.
Medical Associates Hospital is proud to announce that we obtained international accreditation from TIMOS International in early 2023, making us the first hospital in the Caribbean region to have achieved this. TIMOS International itself is accredited by the International Society for Quality in Healthcare, who themselves are universally known as the gold standard of accreditors. This prestigious accreditation signifies that our hospital has met and exceeded international standards for healthcare excellence, safety, and quality. To be internationally accredited, a hospital undergoes comprehensive evaluations by an independent and recognized accrediting body, ensuring that it is established and is competent in delivering, alongside maintaining, the highest standards in patient care, clinical practice, and healthcare management. This accreditation demonstrates our unwavering commitment to providing world-class healthcare services, assuring that patients and their families receive the finest care and treatment right here in the Caribbean at Medical Associates Hospital.
So how would we approach CPR on an infant?
Good question. We have this little guy here. So, firstly, what we're looking at is checking an infant who seems to be unresponsive, not responding. Like the adult, where we tap on the shoulders, with the infant, we tickle the fingers and toes. We say, baby, baby, are you okay? Are you all right? And if there is no response, then we look for signs of life. Any chest movement, abdomen, or if you say belly movement. And if there is no movement, no signs of life, we start compression. But we want to call that 811, activate emergency response system, and get them on the way. And we start with 2 fingers, and there's what we call the imaginary nipple line. The 2 nipples, a finger width below the imaginary nipple line. We can do compressions, which is 30 compressions, or we can use what's called the encircling thumb, where the 4 fingers are behind and we are doing the compressions with 2 thumbs. That's called the encircling thumb. Or with American Heart Association 2020 guidelines, they have introduced where you can use 1 hand with less force and do compressions with 1 hand. Yeah? And as you do these 30 compressions, we want to get those breaths in. So we'd give 2 breaths covering the mouth and nose if we choose to apply our mouth to an infant. We don't just do like with the adult. If you choose to use the adult given breaths, you pinch the nose. With the infant, you cover the mouth and nose. And you give a small breath, causing chest rise, and then you release so that it will exhale on its own, and then you give another breath. 2 breaths, and you continue the compression. Be it 2 fingers, be it the encircling thumb, be it 1 hand with less force.
What about the choking infant?
Good. That's a good one. We hope it never happens. But in the event that it does, hand me the infant, please, Nyla. Tell me the infant is choking. Okay, what we teach at Tech EMS is go for the head, stabilize the head. And then you would look quickly for 3 things. 1, you may see bulging eyes, which is indicative of pending doom. You may see blue discoloration around the lips, which is called cyanosis. Or you may see tearing without song. So you might see tears running without song. You see, that's a clear indication of a complete airway obstruction. And once you notice this, in seconds, you will activate by turning the infant on their front side, yeah, face down, supporting the head, because you don't want this. There's something called back slaps, but you don't want to do back slap. Watch the head. You don't want to see the head bopping like that. You're breaking the neck. So you support the face, and you do 5 back slaps with the head down so gravity can work for you. At the top of the shoulders, in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you rotate, and you do the same, but with chest thrust. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You would then look in the mouth. If you see an object, you remove it with the pinky finger. If you see no object, then you continue. So is that back slap 5, chest thrust 5.
And how long would you go along?
So you do this until the object is expelled or the infant becomes unconscious. Coming unconscious means the infant will get limp. You see what happens is a choking infant, they are not in respiratory arrest. They are still conscious, but they're choking. Once that respiratory arrest kicks in, then they will become limp. that's the unconscious state. And that's when you place them down on a hard surface and start compressions with 2 fingers or 1 hand, or as you have them up already, you could do the encircling thumb and start CPR.
Eat healthy and stay positive with O-Snacks Omega-3. Enjoy almonds filled with vitamin E, healthy fats and fiber. Walnuts may decrease bad cholesterol, lower blood pressure and provide diabetic support. Amp up your vitamin B1 with pecans. Pumpkin seeds are rich in iron, protein and zinc. Dried cranberries are an antioxidant, heart-healthy superfood. Boost your immunity with Omega-3 Mix. O-Snacks, a healthier choice.
Are you looking for a customizable studio space with green and white screen cyclorama and professional production equipment to carry out your next big project? SGP Studios is the perfect fit for you. TNT's largest studio space with an overhead lighting grid and sound treated, perfect for television commercials, music videos, television programs, social media content, and film productions. We also have a wide range of production equipment available for rental. You can choose from a selection of Netflix approved cameras, modern lighting equipment, professional audio gear, 40-foot and 20-foot cranes, gimbals, drones, lenses, action cameras, and more, all at competitive prices. Whether you need a high-end cinema camera for a feature film shoot, specialized lighting equipment for a music video, or audio gear for a podcast, we've got you covered. And with our easy online booking system, you can reserve the gear you need in just a few clicks. Check us out online at sgpstudios.com.
Shop, save, and win 3 days, 2 nights getaway to the breathtaking island of Tobago for a family of 4. For your chance to win, spend $250 or more at dbestoys.com. Save big with our huge discounts. Gel blasters from $299, tricycles from $248, ride-ons from $199, bicycles from $649, scooters from $285, RC cars from $69, Barbies from $49, car seats from $415, high chairs from $349. Get huge discounts from all your favorite brands: Lego, Hot Wheels, VTech, Leapfrog, Little Tikes, Jurassic World, Squashmallows, and so much more. Visit us in store at First Floor Movietown Port of Spain, Force's flagship MacBean, Eastgate Mall, Trin City, or shop online now at dbestoys.com. We have the best toys at the best prices. Merry Christmas, everyone!
Searching for the ultimate healthy snack? Look no further than O-Snacks Natural Almonds. Loaded with fiber, protein, and magnesium, they're an excellent source of heart-healthy, energy-boosting, powerful nutrition. Our almonds are the perfect addition to a wholesome breakfast. They're a great way to snack, at home or on the go, and they suit your fitness goals. Crunchy, delicious, and most importantly, guilt-free. What's not to love? O-Snacks Natural Almonds, a healthier choice.
Anything different for bigger kids as compared to small babies with this technique?
Okay, well, backslap chest thrusts are for infants, only babies. However, if it's a child who is not an adult, we will do the same process, which I will demonstrate now for choking, which is the helmet maneuver. Can I volunteer? So Dr. Taylor is going to volunteer. So let me just demonstrate quickly, if you come this way so we can get a little clearance there. So pretend you're choking. Okay, so this is the universal choke sign. So with my hands on the shoulder, I go to the back, placing my right foot on my left between the person's leg, and then I'm going to take one hand and to make a landmark. You see when you tell somebody from a distance, give me a call. The thumb goes by the xiphoid process, and the small pinky finger goes by the umbilicus, the belly button. And what you do is you take the other hand and cuff it in between, and then you hold that hand and you do upward, inward thrust. 1, 2, 3, until the object is expelled or the victim becomes unconscious. Should the victim become unconscious, you take them down to the ground without them hitting their head and start CPR right away. If it's a pregnant person and you can get your hands around them, you would go between the breasts, because the fetus, the baby, is in the abdomen. So you don't want to do a helmet maneuver on the abdomen. So you go in if it's a pregnant female that you can get your hands around. If it's an obese person that you can get your hands around, you do the same thing at the chest, because obesity would have that enlarged abdomen and you wouldn't be effective with your helmet maneuver. If it's an obese person that you cannot get your hands around, or a pregnant person that you can't get your hands around, Nyla, you pretend to be a wall. You get them to a wall. So Nyla is the wall. Against the wall, you would position yourself so that you wouldn't fall back. Place one hand between the chest, the other to support, and you would do that hard press against the wall. 1, 2, 3, until the object is expelled or they become unconscious, which the wall supports them to go down.
Wow, well, thanks so much, Mr. Batiste.
Oh, it was our pleasure. No problem. And be reminded that we are available, Tech EMS Training Academy of the Caribbean, 731-4712 for any service that's needed for training. You're welcome.
So there you have it. Such potent information in such a short amount of time.
We learned about the unconscious victim and how we should position them and what to look out for. We learned about a seizing victim as well, and how again to position them and to remember not to put anything in their mouth.
We've learned about CPR and the use of AED technology.
Thank you so much for joining us. Take care of you for us.
The Doctor's Journal was brought to you by Medical Associates Hospital, Jameson and O Snacks.